What's up guys, you're watching Poot's Garage. This week we got a whole laundry list to get through. And I just listened to a song called King of the Chevy by Mac 10 and I'm all jacked up. You guys gotta check out that Mac 10 song. That is, ooh, man, it makes me want to put a Cadillac on bags so bad. Ugh. I don't know if anybody is here from a long time ago, but I used to have a 81 Cadillac, a sedan DeVille, a big boy. And it was a four-door and all the good stuff. Had the 368 V8, the old V8 6.4. It was all messed up. But dude, I liked that car. It was fun. I liked it. I shouldn't have sold it. Just another car I shouldn't have sold. But, you know, I'd love to buy another big Cadillac and do something fun with it. But we gotta get to this truck. So if you're watching out there and you want to see me build a Cadillac or do something else, please like, comment, and subscribe so I can finance this stuff. Hey guys, before we get too deep into this video, I just wanted to mention I still have stickers available. I give these away for free. All you gotta do is send me your address to pootsgarage@gmail.com. That email will be in the description of the video below. I sent out 4 more of them this week, so it's super cool getting these emails from you guys. I love hearing from it. It makes me, you know, feel all good inside that people like watching my stuff and they want my name on their things. You know, it's kind of cool, so I love hearing about it. I did mention that I was trying to get some better stickers made. I haven't had that happen yet, but I did put an order in for more of these little free ones that I'll keep giving away, so that's cool, and we can keep this going. So next, you know, we gotta head to the map, and we're at the map. Here we go. This week we got 17 locations, so we gotta get through this kind of quick. For the new people here, what we do is you comment where you're watching from and I'll leave a red pin on the map. Let's get into it. First up this week is Coal City, Illinois. Next is Tallahassee, Alabama, Tucson, Arizona, Corinth, Mississippi, Veronia, Oregon, Silver Springs, Nevada. I like this one. Ding Dong, Texas, Conifer, Colorado, Bloomington, Minnesota, Georgetown, Colorado, Neptune, New Jersey, McCall, Idaho, Dutton, Montana, Hudson, Wisconsin, Kent, Washington, Medicine Hat, Alberta, Canada. And our final one is actually a correction. When I first started this, somebody threw out Great Falls, but they didn't tell me what state, and there's a lot of different Great Falls. So I threw it out here in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. But we finally got a response back, and it is Great Falls, Montana, like I figured it was. That's all the pins for this week, so keep calling out them cities, them states, them counties, whatever you want to represent. Let's turn this map red. Alright, so this week we got a list of stuff to do. It's nothing crazy, so I'm just gonna go over this list right now with you. And so first on the list is we gotta trim the fenders on this truck, right? You know, these tires are way too big. Okay, they're not too big, they're just right, but they don't fit, obviously. So we gotta cut the fenders and we gotta make things fit. And I know the purists are gonna hate me for this, but I'll show you as much bad things about the truck as I can, if possible, just so you don't hate me as much. Next, we got a new set of parking brake cables. I know some people were asking me about that stuff, so I'll get those in and hopefully they'll work and everything will work out right. So you'll see that happen. Next, we got to measure up some drive shafts for this thing because I have no way to move it under its own power right now. I got no drive shafts, nothing works, nothing fits. So I got to order some custom units from Tom Woods, and I've actually already ordered those. That's kind of why I'm in a good mood, I guess. I, you know, spent all my money again. If that puts you in a good mood. Then I think we have a solution to our steering clearance issue. If you guys have been following along, you'll know my pitman arm is only like 2 inches above my high steer, and I really want to keep the high steer, so I think I found a solution to that, and I'll show you what I'm gonna do. And then if we have any time left over in this video, I don't know if I'll have them or not, if the parts are gonna show up or if I even have time to do it. I got a bunch of new seals coming. I got both rear axle seals coming and a transfer case seal. It's not most exciting stuff, but they are kind of special seals. They're kind of an upgraded design, and I don't even know much about them, so I'm kind of curious about them myself. So hopefully they'll fix the, it's a real common issue for these rear hubs to be leaking all the time, even with new seals. They keep leaking, so it doesn't matter how pitted the sealing surface is on these units. So it's not just, I don't think it's just the, what they call the old axle saver ones where it just slides a new metal sleeve over and then your seal rides on that. I don't think it's that. I think it's actually like a 2-piece seal or something. So stick around and I'll show you what's up with those. So the first thing I want to handle on this thing is these fenders. I need to get rid of some of this metal on here just so I can at least turn. I can't even turn the way it's sitting right now. So we're gonna do some preliminary trimming. It's probably not gonna be the final product, but we'll just see how it goes. So first off, we're gonna trim this front fender. We're gonna cut the whole bottom of it off. Boop. Real common, everybody does it, no big deal. And then if we need to, we might nibble into the back of the fender here, but I kind of don't want to if I don't have to, but everybody trims that off, so I'm sure I'm gonna have to do it. And then looking at the rear now, I don't know if I'm gonna have to trim the front of the rear fenders off yet. I don't think so. Maybe just a hair, maybe just a little tiny off the bottom corner, but the rear is gonna eat, I'm sure. So what I plan on doing, just because when I do bumpers and stuff on this thing, I already planned on just cutting the whole bottom of this fender off as well. Hack it off like that and go bloop, so it'll be gone. Now, I don't want to upset the purists on this channel, if there's anybody out there, but you know, I gotta cut these fenders up to make these tires fit, and I know a lot of people are like, well, I should have lifted it more to make the tires fit without trimming and blah, blah, blah. That's just not what we're doing. We wanna keep the center of gravity down low with a big tire underneath, so we gotta cut. I know a lot of people hate cutting up this stock sheet metal and everything, and to be honest, I have a hard time. I haven't cut anything yet, and it's gonna be hard for me to make the first cut, but these fenders in this beds and stuff is not in as good shape as you probably think. I know this video kind of makes it look really good, especially here, the pictures I post on Instagram and stuff. The truck actually looks pretty cool in pictures, but it's really not in that great a shape. There's a lot of rust underneath. If you see me work underneath it, there's surface rust everywhere under there, and that surface rust has gone from basically the back sides of the fenders out. So let me show you all the bad spots. So we'll actually start on the better side. For some reason, this side of the truck is in a lot better shape than the other side. The other side's more rusty for some reason. So this side, like, this fender looks great, right? The paint looks probably kind of shiny. It's not good paint. Everything's just junk. Restorable wise, this fender would, yeah, you could maybe reuse this one if you were like restoring it or something. But there is a few little bad things going on. So the worst thing is basically this fender is I don't know if it rotted off the bottom corner or if the previous owner somewhere along the lines actually cut it off and now it's just rusting away, because the tires that were on it did rub before, even those little 33s that were on there. So, you know, this fender's not in the best of shape either. And that's the best one we got. Is that worth cutting off? I think so. Next, we'll step to the back of the truck here, and this is the rear fender. And you know, this one looks pretty good. It's a straight fender. Paint actually has some sort of shine to it, but you know, if you notice, it's got, you know, a big dent on the corner here. That would be hard to work out, I'm sure. Next is like this rust right here. This is pretty nasty stuff. And if you want to see the inside, you'll see why. And you can see some little specks of daylight coming through that fender there. That's why, because of the support just rotted out from the inside. So I mean, it's missing so much metal in here. This is actually, it's missing an entire sheet of metal over the top of this. And because of the rust, you'll see that the fender is not attached anymore. The front actually is still. There's a support in there that's still holding on somehow. So we're all right with that one. Give you a little better view of that. So this whole fender is nothing. This one here is kind of attached, but you can see the whole bedside is loose. Now for the real bad side. So it's pretty obvious that I got some severe rust here. There's no metal there, and we got some metal up here at the door. So let me give you a little close-up of what we got going on here. So you can see I would have no problem cutting that off. This fender is really rough, not to mention all the rust that's behind this trim piece there. So I'm gonna have no problem cutting that off, even though I'm not gonna be cutting off all the rust, but I'm gonna have no problem making the first cuts on that one. Then the paint just looks nastier on this side, but it's just kind of like a moldy mess on this side, because I think this side was a little wetter when it was last stored. Then we come up to the door, and the door is in really bad shape, obviously. There's some severe rust going through there. We open it up, and it's still structural. It's gone through a little bit right there, but this through here is not bad. And then this is some pretty heavy surface rust, but it hasn't gone through yet, so that's not that big a deal. Oh yeah, let me back up. This bedside is barely attached. Let me show you. So first off, the bottom is completely disconnected. It's even worse than the other side. And then, if you lean up against this bedside too far, the whole bedside is shot. It is not attached to anything. Then we come up to the front fender here on the driver's side, and this side looks pretty decent until you get down low and you'll see that it looks like somebody actually cut off the bottom corner. I can't tell because the lighting is horrible. This side is all smashed in from a previous tire rubbing issue, and so it's all deformed. And the front of the fender has been cut off or something going on here. Again, this should be like a nice square piece missing out of there. Somebody has hacked this thing up already, and then it's got some pretty heavy surface rust through there. And then some other things going on. I know people kind of mentioned like, oh, they want to restore this whole truck and whatnot, but this truck is in surprisingly rough shape. One thing that I've noticed from the beginning since I bought it, I knew since I bought it, is the roof of this truck has actually been hit really hard. I think a tree branch or something fell on the roof of this thing. So there is a very thick layer of Bondo on the roof, and it's so bad you can actually see the dent on the inside of the roof. Let me show you. If you notice in the reflections, you got some that's actually dented down along with all this. This is all dented down. There's something going on here. I think this is dented down. So the whole back of this cab got smashed down. And I think they kind of pushed it up as best they could. And then they just plastered Bondo to the roof of this thing. They did a decent job hiding it or whatever, or repairing it, I guess. But no, this truck is not in very good shape. So when you start picturing everything together and the amount of work this truck would take to actually do like a full restoration. Imagine pulling this truck apart and actually doing like a frame off and sandblasting everything. There would not be a whole lot left of this thing. You'd replace half these panels on this truck already. So don't be mad that I'm turning this truck into a wheeler, and don't be mad that I'm actually cutting up the fenders and all this stuff on purpose. And don't be mad when I start smashing it up on the trail. This old girl is what I would consider like just a super solid platform to do whatever you wanted with, you know? Like sure, there's people that would restore this thing, but it's a super solid platform to build off of to do other things with. So look at it that way. You know, if I wouldn't have bought it, who knows if anybody else would have bought it. It could be still sitting and rotting away and nobody be doing anything with it, and nobody could ever enjoy it. And it's the next day. So it's Friday night. I'm getting a late start out here. I had a pretty good day though. I actually went out to a local car meet that a group of local guys do every Friday night in my town here. So it was kind of cool to go out there and do that. Kind of was a little nerve-wracking going out there, you know, by yourself, not knowing anybody or anything, you know. I didn't know what to expect. And so I took the camera, but I didn't get any footage. I didn't want to, you know, break the camera out in front of people and stuff like that. Just trying to get to know a few people around town, you know. So it was really cool though. It wasn't that many cars, nothing too exciting, except for 3 vehicles were pretty sweet out there. One was a 73 Dodge Dart. He had a 418 Mopar motor in there, stroker motor, and he had a turbo on that, so that thing was pretty rowdy, pretty cool car. It was pretty much a full-on race car at that point. And then the second one was a, God, I think it was a 39 Nash that showed up. Big old long hood on that thing. The thing was cool. Originally had a straight 8, but he had an old LT1 Chevy motor in it, the old TPI motors on there. He had one of those on there, so a little camshaft in it. Sounded pretty good, so pretty nice. Just kind of a hot rod style, but nothing too wild. And then the third cool one was a guy that had a C6 Corvette out there, so that was kind of cool. You know, I got the C5, so he's got the C6, but his is a little more extreme than mine. He's got a full exhaust, you know, cap delete, cammed, you know, just a rowdy motor. You know, the LS3s are 400 horsepower stock, and then he did all this other stuff to it. It's a pretty rowdy motor, so that was cool. He actually took me for a ride in it. Thing was on full airbag suspension too, so I mean, it laid on the ground. It was pretty cool for a Corvette. Nice sound system, but yeah, he took me for a ride in that thing, and holy crap, that thing is fast. Woo! So yeah, it was just a really cool evening just to go out there, hang out for a couple hours with some new people, and kind of get to know some new vehicles in town. So I'm gonna try and start doing that as much as I can every Friday or something, and then maybe I'll start getting some videos here and there of the cars or something. You know, do something with it just to kind of show off and, you know, get those guys some exposure too if they want to be out on the interwebs on this page and whatnot. So yeah, it's kind of cool. But let's get back to this. So let's get to some fender trimming. This is the hardest one I think it's going to be, so I'm going to tackle this one first. It's really not that big a deal to cut it straight across, but the problem is I have the bumper, and I'm going to try not to take the bumper off. So it's going to be hard to cut behind the bumper and you know, try and make things look decent. So it might get a little rough back there, but we can clean that up later after I, you know, remove bumpers and redo all that type of stuff later. But for now, I just want to get some clearance on all this stuff. I'm not sure about the rear yet, what we're going to do there yet. I might actually turn the wheel and see how close it is and whatnot. So yeah, let's figure out what we're going to do. So we are underneath the front of the truck here, and now you can see how rusty the underside of these inner fenders are. Where we're going to be cutting is actually right across here, and it's going to be a little difficult because there's actually two layers. The fender itself actually has like an inner and an outer layer. This is all kind of like, get the lighting right there, this is all kind of like spot welded together, so I can't just separate that. And then this section here, that's really rusty, but it's good on this side, the part that matters. This is actually the radiator support, and the radiator support actually extends all the way out to the outside on these, so I don't want to cut any of that off, even though it's literally just falling off in my hands. But so I'm just gonna cut up to this line here, and we're just gonna try and go straight across all the way. So yeah, that's kind of what we're doing and why we're doing it there. And then later on, if I want to, then I can cut up a little deeper into that if I really need to, and then kind of re-manage all this. Maybe put some new sheet metal or something in there to clean it up if it needs some structure. As you can see, this thing's just crumbling under there, and that's what is that, my washer fluid bottle, or maybe radiator overflow, I don't know, it doesn't matter. These corners on these trucks always rust out because the battery is directly above that, way up high, and so when your batteries leak and just the general corrosion and stuff falls down, it captures down here and it just causes it to rot out really bad. If you can see through the glaring light, that side over there is not rotted out as bad just because it doesn't have the battery over there. So for this side, I'm going to figure out how high up this is here. I think somebody mentioned it's like 4 inches below the turn signal light or something like that, or I don't know. I'll figure it out myself, and then I'm just gonna put a piece of tape across the outside and we'll just start cutting. All right, we got our tape on there. I think it looks a little crooked on the camera there just because of the way the fender angles out. Kind of makes a funky angle on it. It might dip down a little bit because of that angle, but whatever. We're just gonna cut it now and get us some clearance, and we can fine tune it all later. This will give us about 1 inch of clearance to, 2 inches of clearance, so it's a good start. Well, that gives me a good start. I got the outer part cut, and that's the part you really want to keep straight. I'm probably gonna cut more off anyway. I don't know what I'm doing. It's the first time doing this, so it's a good start. We're getting into it now. I like to use those cutoff wheels. You can get a nice straight line with those when you cut those versus using a hacksaw or a sawzall. Sawzalls can get pretty gnarly pretty quick on you, so try to avoid using those on stuff you're trying to keep nice. But yeah, we might have to do it anyways to get up in there a little further. We'll see. First cut's done. First one cuts the deepest. Ooh. But we got it, so we got a little more clearance. I'm probably gonna most likely be cutting a little off the corner eventually too. Kinda give it a nice contour. One thing that's hard about these square bodies is cutting fenders on these things is really hard to make them look good just because of the nice square shape that the fender already has, and you really start ruining that when you start taking random cuts out of it. So my thing is trying to figure out how to do it as cleanly as possible and not as noticeable as it would be on some rigs. I think that's what we're gonna leave it at for now. Not crazy about that angle, but it gives us the clearance in there. So, I mean, if anything, you would come up more and kind of try and contour it a little better, but I think for now, that's gonna work out good. You can see it really exposes our rust. I don't think it looks too bad. It gives us plenty of clearance on that tire up front for now. I think that'll be enough. So we're gonna leave that alone for now. I'm gonna do the other side the same. front's done. There's one side. There's the other side. Now the tires actually look like they might actually fit. Next we gotta go to the back here. I'm gonna cut the whole bottom off of this rear bed section off. So let's get to it. So on this rear section, I don't really have a good way to measure on the outside. So I'm actually gonna try and drill a couple pilot holes from the inside out to kind of mark where I wanna cut. And once I get those holes drilled, I can put a piece of tape across them on the outside. Our preliminary cuts are done. You can see we got some more room in the front. We got a little bit more room in the back. Things actually look a little more usable now, so it looks a lot more aggressive. It actually looks like the tire can move a little bit now, so that's cool. Looks a lot better in my opinion. Here's the rear. We did leave just a slight angle to that. I think that kind of helped, like it's supposed to be like that, you know? Cut right through the rust there. That was kind of a pain in the butt, but yeah, it worked. I'm glad everything held together the way it's supposed to. But yeah, it looks a lot more usable right now. So I'm digging this. So that's all the cutting I'm gonna do right now. This was just kind of a preliminary cut so that I could steer and kind of move things around and kind of get the look I'm going for. And so next we're gonna have to cycle suspension and steering and different things and see, like the fenders are probably gonna contact back here. The rear might be good the way it is, so hopefully we don't have to cut anything else back there, but the front probably need a little more attention. So for now, this is what we're gonna leave it at. We'll probably do a little bit later on once we kind of figure other things out, but let's move on to the next thing. Kind of funny, every time I work on this thing, just tons of rust and dirt fall off. And that's a lot of metal shavings too. Just from cutting on this thing, the vibrations were just, things were just falling off. There's my other pile of dirt over here. And we come over here and there's another pile on this corner. Just tons of junk. It's kind of funny. We got a couple piles here. This one here is kind of funny because every time I close this driver's side door, a piece of glass usually falls out because I shattered a side window inside of that door one time. So I'm still trying to get all the glass out, and it's probably falling out of its rust hole there. But yeah, keep your shop clean as you work. Hey guys, sorry to cut you off here, but it's getting really late, and I'm editing this video, and I know I said I was gonna cover what, 4 different things in this video, and I only got through one, and I'm already sitting at a 24-minute video, so I don't really have room to throw the other stuff on there. Plus, it's getting super late. I gotta go to bed soon. I gotta work in the morning. Well, my morning, which is later in the day, but I gotta go to sleep. I had to get my beauty rest. So we're gonna cut you off, and the rest of this stuff is gonna have to be on a part 2 or a second video. So I will talk to you guys later.